Hello, it's Rebecca from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm sharing a layout for Peartree Cutfiles. Therefore this video does class as an advertisement. Today I'm using the Sunburst cut file, which was part of the September release, so it's already available in the store. You can buy it as either a digital download or as a pre-cut cut file if you don't have your own machine at home. I've cut it on just plain white 12x12 cardstock, and my plan today is to have a circle photo to mimic the sun. I was planning to use this manual die cutting machine, but as I was about to do it, remembered that the largest die that I wanted to use doesn't actually fit in the machine, it's just slightly too wide. So I scrapped that idea and just used the die to draw a circle around my photo and cut it out the old-fashioned way with scissors. As you can see here, the cut file itself is just slightly short of 12x12 and it has a white framed border around the edge. I decided for this layout I didn't want to include the border, so I started using a craft knife just to cut the border off. But because my cardstock is 180 GSM, so it's not too thick, it was just crinkling underneath the craft knife, so I just decided to go back to scissors and just snip the edge of each sun ray just to take the border off. For this layout I've decided I'm going to have a mixed media background, so I've gone with yellow obviously for the sun. This is an original Shimmerz paint pot in, I think the shade's called Sunny. Because it's an original Shimmerz, it's already pre-made, so you don't really have to add water to it. I do, however, because I find that they're actually quite thick and not too easy to work with, but they do have an amazing shimmer to them. It's almost like the finest glitter you can imagine. I'll show you a close-up once I've finished the mixed media, but it does give a really shimmery effect. So I just use a piece of packaging and a paintbrush just to mix a little bit with water. I start off using paint splatters and then just use the packaging to kiss the page, and it just spreads it out a bit. I didn't want it too saturated, I wanted there to still be a lot of white space, but just wanted the yellow there just as my background. So I'm doing a mixture of the packaging technique and ink splatters just to add more depth to the layout, and just drying it off with a paper towel in between each layer. I'm using a glue pen to stick my cut file to my background. This one's from the range, it's really good. It's just like a ballpoint pen and you literally just draw with it and glue comes out the nib. It's brilliant for working with cut files. So just use that to stick the sun down on my layout. I've not gone all the way to the end of the rays because I'm going to trim some of them down. There you go, you can see the shimmer there from the mixed media, the Shimmerz paint. And as you can see there, I've just used my sewing machine and I've gone down each sun ray just with a white thread and a straight running stitch. I love the effect of machine stitching on layouts. I think it's really pretty and adds loads of interest. I don't do it as often as I'd like to because my sewing machine really hates me and it has a tendency to destroy my layouts. So normally I leave my stitching till the end and then it destroys my layouts and I sit there cursing. So I was really lucky with this one that it actually behaved and did what I wanted it to. So I've trimmed off about 1/4 of an inch off the sides of the layout, and then I'm just distressing the edges with a pair of scissors, just using the side of the blade. And I'm going to add this yellow border around the edge. Yellow for the sun, obviously, no other colour would do. So I'm just using double-sided sticky tape, and as you can see I just pull off one edge completely and then just partially peel off the other edges, and I find it really easy to line it up and stick it down that way. I really like adding a coloured border to my pages, especially on mixed media pages, because I find if the page has warped slightly, adding a coloured border after doing it can sometimes level out that warping and sort of iron it out a bit, so your page isn't so warped. I've decided to add a bit of colour behind my photo. My photo is black and white, so I've used the same die and I've just cut it a circle slightly bigger than my photo. and I'm just going to distress the edge of that with my scissors too. If I'm using circles, I always distress the edges, because even though I was cutting and following a line, it still wasn't a perfect circle. I just seem to have this inability to follow a line when it comes to cutting out circles, and they're always a bit wonky. So I've just used the scissors to distress it, and then you'd never know that I can't cut straight. I'm using double-sided adhesive foam tape to stick between the layers, just to prop the photo up so it's raised off the page a bit. Just again adds a bit more dimension to the page. And now I am going to add sequins to all the sun rays. I didn't want to stick them directly onto the sun ray, because I've done that machine stitching. I didn't want to cover that up, I just wanted to follow the lines of it. So I add a row of gold sequins underneath each sun ray, and I just stick them down with glossy accents, as I find that stuff is super good and it really holds well. So I'm just going to skip through this. I'm not going to make you watch me do every single sun ray, otherwise this would be a very long video. And there you go, you can see I've done all the sun rays in gold, and it's really sparkly and really pretty, and I loved it. I'm going to add my title here, which will be Love You. Love is an acrylic perspective from Bramble Fox, and then I'm just adding the word you with some thickers from my stash underneath. And then I'm just going to add a final few bits to embellish the layout. I'm using glossy accents just to stick my acrylic perspective down. I find that's the best thing for them. It's really strong. It takes a while to dry, but once it's dry it really holds. On this occasion it didn't particularly want to stick to the sequin, so I've just stuck a big tub of gesso on top just to weigh it down and help it stick for a little bit. I've got a little sticker down the bottom there that says XOXO. I've just added some foam pads behind it to raise it up a bit, and I'm adding some black thread underneath it. I've decided to bring in some black onto the layout purely because my photo is black and white, and it just adds another colour other than yellow and gold, which was looking a little bit pale for me, so I've gone with a bit of black as well. Just adding a couple of epoxy star stickers, just scattering them about. And then I've got these phrase stickers here. I think they're by Tim Holtz, and these ones are gold writing on a black background. So I just select a few of them, and I'm just going to scatter those around the page and around the sequins. The ones like this one, for example, that will go either side of the sequins, I just raise up on foam pads at the front and at the beginning and the end, and then because the middle's sort of already raised up with the sequins anyway, so it just makes them a bit more level and means they're less likely to fall off once they go into an album. I think I just add one more of those down the bottom there. That's balanced the layout out quite nicely. Oh no, I'm coming in for another one. That one probably going to go up the top. Yep, because that was bugging me watching it. So that's me definitely done with those now. I didn't put any over to the left and top of the photo because where the sequins are really close together, I was feeling that that part of the layout already looked a bit cluttered. So I didn't put any at the top there. And I'm just coming in with a black acrylic paint. I'm just going to water that down a little bit and then just add some black ink splatters just around where I've stuck those Tim Holtz phrase stickers. I don't go mad with the splatters, just add a few around each one and then add a few more to my title. As you can see, there was more on my hand than there was on the layout. And that's me done. Look at the sparkle, I love it. So please like and subscribe and head over to peartreecutfiles.co.uk and grab yourself this cut file. There will be another video shortly that I use this same cut file, but I use the negative parts of it instead. So this cut file is a bit like a 2-for-1 because you can get two different sections out of it and make two completely different layouts. So thank you for joining me and I'll see you next time. Bye.